Hello world, welcome back to another HackerRank Python challenge video. In this video, we're going to be solving finding the percentage. Store a list of students and marks in a dictionary and find the average marks obtained by a student. Let's get into it. The provided code stub will read in a dictionary containing key value pairs of name, marks, sublist, for a list of students. Print the average of the marks array for the student name provided, showing 2 places after the decimal. Okay, so they kind of give us what these key value pairs are supposed to look like. And what we'll go ahead and do, right? Like since it looks like we've already got everything defined here, right? We're gonna go ahead and just print out student marks just to see what the dictionary would look like for you guys, right? So we can just simply put the dictionary in like that. And here's what it looks like. So here you have, curly braces like you would see in like a set, for example, because this technically is a set, right? And I'll explain why. So each dictionary has a key value pair, right? And each key value pair is separated by a comma. Now the keys must be unique. There cannot be 2 of the same key in a dictionary. That's where the uniqueness comes in. However, the values for each key could be the same. So Krishna and Arjun could potentially have the same data for their values. Nothing wrong with that. Now, keys can also only be certain data types, whereas the value can be pretty much any data type you want it to be. All right, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and actually get started, right? And let's go ahead and take care of our constraints. So here we have n must be in between 2 and 10. So let's go ahead and say if n not in range of 2, 11, then print n must be inclusively between 2 and 10. All right, let's go ahead and throw our little exit. All right, what's our next constraint? 0, so all of our marks in each sublist must be between 0 and 100 inclusively. And then the length of the marks array, each marks array should only be 3. So they're limiting us to how many values for each person can be put into the score. How many scores can be put in for each person, right? So we can take care of that inside our for loop here, actually. We can go in here and where it says scores, we can let's go ahead and just check the length first, right? Since that's easier. So if length of scores is not equal to 3, and let me get rid of that G, then print length of marks arrays must be equal to 3. And then we're going to throw our little exit, and then let's go ahead and check each value of the marks array itself. So we'll say for score in scores, if score, now here's something, a little tricky. We're dealing with decimal points here, right? We can't use the in-range function for decimals or floating point numbers. It can only be used for whole number integers, right? So we have to do this the standard way. So we have to say if score is less than, if not score is less than or equal to 0, greater than or equal to 0, and not score less than or equal to 100, then we'll say print scores must be inclusively between 0 and 100. All right, and that takes care of our constraints. Pretty simple. Our constraints will never be too difficult to figure out. So then we have student marks name. So what this is doing is it's establishing, okay, I'm setting a key, right? I'm defining a key inside the student marks array, dictionary, and we're assigning it to the scores list, right? And if we come back down here and look, right? So if we say the key name Krishna, we set that, and then this is how you define new keys with values in a dictionary. There's other ways to do it too, but this is the simplest way, right? And So we pass in Krishna, and we set it equal to these scores, right? And so that basically gives us a key of Krishna whose value is a list of 3 scores, right? 3 floating point scores or floating number scores. So then we also have this query name here, right? And our query name is simply going to be what we're searching, right? So remember, we're typing in a name. In the sample input, it's Malika, right? If we type in Malika, we should be getting the average of Malika's scores, right? So how do we go about doing this? Let's go ahead and define ourselves an average variable, and we know how to calculate average, right? It's going to be the sum of the scores divided by the number of scores there are. So how do we get that though? What we can do is we can simply reference our student marks dictionary at the queried name, right? At Malika, and then we can grab the index, right? We can grab that index because it's a list. If we were to print out student marks at query name, all that would be printed out is the list of scores. So 52, 56, 60. So all we have to do is literally index each value of that sublist. And since we know there's always going to be 3, then we can just simply keep using the same method, right? Student marks query underscore name, and then 1, right? So 0 would get us 52, and 1 would get us 56 accordingly, and as per the sample input. And then of course our last grade, right? Query underscore name, and then at 2, and that'll get us our final 160. Now we can just divide this by 3. We could also just get the length of student marks at query name, and that would also give us 3. But that we want to optimize this, and since we know it's all, we would do that if there were more or less than 3 student grades that could be entered in per student. But since we're limited to 3, we're limited to n students, right? But since we're limited to 3 scores per student, right, we can just divide by 3 instead of just getting the length of the scores, right? Or the length of the student marks query name, which would still work, but again, we want to optimize the processing time, right? Now, let's go ahead and just print the average and see if we get something similar to what the sample output should be. All right, so 56.0. All right, so yeah, we do need to round to 2 decimal places. All right, we'll get to that in a second. 26.5, 26.50. Okay, cool. Now that we have this average, right? And remember, we could just stick all of this inside of our print function, right? Because the print function actually does evaluate expressions. But for readability, we'll leave it as a variable. So what we can do is a simple format string type substitution inside of the print function. And what this does is, and I need to put in modulo there, is it will take whatever value is to the right of the modulo, and that's basically what's being represented here. And this is a decimal point, so it's saying round to 2 decimal places round to 2 decimal places after the decimal point, right? And the F stands for float. So what this should do for us is simply give us our decimal points, right? So it's still going to, well, we don't know that for sure yet, but it's going to potentially, hopefully round and then keep it limited to 2 decimal places. So let's go ahead and submit the code. And lo and behold, all the test cases passed. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like and subscribe if you want to keep up to date with our content. And leave any comments, good or bad. We don't discriminate, in the comment section down below. Also check out our Patreon and Discord, links in the description box down below. And I'll see you in the next video. This is Almond Milk signing out.